Hello. I'm going to be talking about mental health in the deaf community. Now I realize that mental health is of serious importance in general, but I came upon this topic because I realized that going to a doctor for mental health is probably a lot different when you're an individual who's deaf or hard of hearing. And so I wanted to look into that, and I found some of the information I found was not that surprising. I already thought ahead that there would be probably some forms of prejudice and a lot of stigma. There's already stigma within mental health, so when you add deaf culture to it, I figured there would be stigma no matter what. So I'll start with talking about the professionals that are involved in mental health and treat deaf individuals. As a professional in the mental health field, you have to be non-biased, willing to listen, patient, and basically willing to do or help your client in any way that is for their needs. And with whenever a individual who is deaf goes to any type of doctor, they most likely need an interpreter or the video relay service. So, and I can imagine for a deaf individual, it's not so much talking about mental health, it's whether they feel like they'll be believed or not, or if they're actually being listened to, that kind of thing. Excuse me. More than likely, the doctor would be hearing, and again, a lot of the prejudice comes from the hearing individuals, because there's just, if you're not, it goes along with any other form of prejudice. If you're not normal like me, then you're different, and different isn't good. So that comes into play. And also with deaf individuals, you have to think, everybody is not the same color, everybody does not come from the same cultural background. So it's not just American Sign Language that they might need an interpreter for. It could be from any country, Russia, Central America, anything like that. And that's where cultural differences come into play, and mental health professionals have to be culturally competent while treating these individuals who are deaf. I would say the best thing that a professional in this field can do to be culturally competent is not assume that they know what the individual has been through, or know this individual's culture better than that person. And that's where you do research, and you just listen and ask if you don't know something. It's better to ask if you don't know than to actually assume, and that's where you become culturally incompetent. And because of cultural incompetence, it pushes deaf individuals further away from seeking help that they may need. As far as mental health is concerned, there can be individuals out there who are deaf or hard of hearing that have anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, and they might not feel like they'll be heard, no pun intended, but they may not feel like they'll be heard or listened to or believed because of already the stigma of communicating with someone who is hearing, or quote unquote normal. Sorry about that. So basically, I feel as though it's harder to get help if you are a deaf or hard of hearing individual. However, that type of person can still get the help that they need. It just takes the mental health professional to be culturally competent, no assumptions, willing to help, empathy, those types of things. And as a psychology major, mental health is just as important as physical health, because while physical health is more about like a physician and with the body, you can't function properly without your mind or your brain. And if there is some kind of disorder happening, it's just as important as if you have a broken bone. You can't function with either. And so that is my understanding of mental health, the profession of mental health, and how it can affect individuals who are deaf or hard of hearing. Thank you.